Somebody may be hurting today. We want you to know there is healing.
There is healing for your sorrow. Healing for your pain.
Healing for your spirit.
Healing for your spirit.
Shelter from the rain.
And shelter from the rain.
If you need it, you just lift your hands and say, Lord, send your healing.
Lord, send your healing.
Oh,
For this we know there is a balm in Gilead.
to heal your soul.
For there's a balm in Gilead to heal
Your soul. Healing for your soul. Healing for your soul. Healing for your Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Almost afternoon, isn't it? Thank you, ensemble. Thank you, pastors, Reverend Gerald and Reverend Prose. Those are two of the most amazing human beings I think I've ever encountered. They're just good stuff, good people inside. Barbara had just come when we were in the room, pastor's office, getting ready to come out here. She had just returned from somebody's home who had just lost a daughter, 45-year-old daughter. She's very pastoral. She cares about the people. She's an amazing administrator, a brilliant thinker, an excellent speaker, but she has a pastoral spirit, and that's why she's been elevated to executive pastor here. We love you. We respect you. You give a lot of insight, and we depend on her greatly in this ministry. And Gerald is just the all-around. He's like my big brother. One of the reasons is because he's older than me. But he's a commanding thinker. He discusses, I call on him on the spur of the moment. He has answers and lots of questions, and I like people who consider themselves to have answers to also have questions. We ask questions, we answer questions, and then we question answers. I'm in the questioning answer period in the second half or last half of my life. Lots of questions, but I've been busy answering, and now I'm questioning answers and starting all over again. It's pretty exciting. About 18 years ago, we're coming up on the 18th year, I died, or I got sick with a disease that ultimately killed me. The theme for this month here at All Souls is death. It's not an attractive subject. It's not a pleasant subject. It's not a kind subject. It's not even a convenient subject. But it's so much a part of life that we can't live because it's the exact opposite, not the enemy necessarily, but the opposite of life. I died from the person I had spent the first 50 years of my life being and becoming. And part of it was a slow death, part of it was assassination, some of it was death by natural causes, some of it was suicidal, things I did. Some of it, as I've said, was homicidal. And I think we all go through those periods in life. Death is the most unhappy word, and we emphasize that this month, part of it is around Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day. Hallows is the word that means holy or halo or separate. All Saints Day. Saints are people who are supposed to have died. And the Christian church celebrates that they died. And that's really an answer to the Celtic Druid holiday of the Day of Samhain, which is the Day of Death. And Samhain is a Druid Celtic way of celebrating once a year in the fall when summer and spring is over and leaves start falling off the trees and things start dying. They have a certain celebration, and all the lights are put out in the little cities in Europe where they recognize this. And supposedly, spirits of dead people who died that year come back to the city, and they knock on doors. And if you give them something, a treat, it's cool. If you don't, they supposedly curse your house. The whole idea of bonfires is really bone fires, dealing with bones of animals and people who have died. It's sort of a creepy holiday, and the Catholic Church was scared of it, and so they came up with Saints' Eve. They had the Saints' Day right around the Celtic celebration of the dead. And we all kind of celebrate death by celebrating life. We don't even I stopped calling our memorial services funerals years ago. We started calling them celebrations of life because I didn't even want to say funeral. We don't even use the term death very much. We say in New Thought, transition. She made her transition. She died. But we say she made her transition because that sounds a little less abrupt, right? Well, we all die. We're all alive and we're dying now. My friend Todd and his wife Ann are here. Anna. Todd just lost his dad. We buried him 2 weeks ago yesterday. For 7 years, that man, that son, the only son of this man, his older brother, made his transition some years ago, only in his 20s. Todd was at his dad's home, shaving, bathing. He was in the hostel. I mean, not hostel, but a hospice here the last 7 months. I never saw a man care for his father that tediously. Every day, every morning, he's there making sure he's okay, to shave him, to bathe him, whatever. He's a masseuse, an excellent masseuse, by the way. I was in so much pain last week, and your hands were healing, son. The Lord used you. He's an amazing masseuse. He actually will go, you can go to his place of business, or sometimes he goes to homes, but he would take care of his dad, and then he would go check on him in the afternoon, go back every night. Did that for 7 months, not mentioning the 6 or so years prior to that, checking the house. His dad was 86, his mom is in her 80s, and so he was really into that, and then his dad left. And I called him the morning afterward because that's the first morning in several months that Todd, and I didn't know he was going to be here today, that he didn't get up rushing to the hospice. The hospice place, Clare House, where our beloved Dr. Wolf made his transition. Just a few days after Todd's dad left, Dr. Wolf left out of that same place. I'm still dealing with my own dad's death just 3 years ago. It's hard to get over when you've had him 88 years. For me, it would have been 62. My godmother died. She was 91. She raised me in January. My favorite uncle was at a nursing home. My dad's baby brother died the next month in February. And then Dad made his transition in March. Divorce papers were filed on me in the following August. That was a death. It isn't finished, but it was a death. It hurt. Now my baby's gone to college. She's not living under my roof for a while. We didn't expect it because she just got the scholarship in July, and she left in September. And we just got a new place. She had a room. We were planning things, and now my baby daughter is not so I done died a whole bunch of times. And I'm handling it okay. I mean, it's just part of life. I lost you lost the church. That was a death. The members, then the property, and people still say, I get people stop me constantly saying, we used to go to your church. We used to like you. You used to be good. When you're at that church, they mean it complimentarily, but it's like, I'm a dead man, I'm the walking dead. Have you heard of all this walking dead stuff? It's all over. Dead man walking. You didn't have to say it that clear, Reverend. Dead Man Walking, it's a big hit. Zombie apocalypse, werewolves and all that stuff, Vampire Diaries. People are so fascinated with death because we are really the living dead, or the dead who are living, or the living who are dying. And that's a little stunning. But it's okay, because you've been doing that. I've been doing it 64 years. However many years you are, you've been doing that. When you get this age, every other phone call is somebody dying. An uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a peer. Most of our pillars, I said at Todd's dad's service, most of the pillars and a lot of the pillows are gone. Dr. Wolf, many of you were not as familiar with him because he's been retired for many years. But I went over the house a lot, and I was trying to spend as much time with him as I could. He was somebody I didn't like. I drove past this place, and I judged Unitarianism, Unitarian Universalism. I didn't even know what it was. I think there'd be more people here now who are moving toward the way we think, but they're scared of you, and we got to help people understand that we're not something to be afraid of. It's been the best kept secret in a long time. But here I got to one of my last experiences with him was actually at his house, and he had just on his 92nd birthday, at his birthday dinner, had a stroke. They knew it right there. He was ready to go. We'd been talking about death. He came to the place where he believed that at one time he didn't believe there was life after this one. And we had some conversations. I told him about some of the things my dad did that was strange, about something that seemed unusual about Daddy going places and seeing folks and telling us things. And he'd say, I go up to heaven and then I come back down here to see what the hell's going on down here. It was his language. He said, and y'all sitting up here looking at me, this is all an illusion. He said, why are you sitting here looking at me? So, Dad, you're dying. You're going into the land of the living. We're in the land of the dying. Your daughters came in. He said, am I supposed to preach or something? I said, no, sir. He said, well, give me a text or something. But I don't. I said, you don't need to perform for us. You did that 88 years. Rest. But we're freaking out because we're losing you. You're not losing us. You're going away, sir. So we're not leaving the room. So calm down and live till you die. I'm going to touch you and kiss you and hold you, and so are they. We're going to cry a little bit. We're going to sing a little bit. And he said, well, see, y'all are trying to make me eat, and I don't want to eat. Food doesn't mean the same thing to me. I'm in a different consciousness. Don't try to catheterize me. I don't want to pee. He actually said that. And he didn't. Stop trying to feed me. Stop trying to force water down my throat. I don't even want ice chips. Leave me alone. That was difficult for us. I cooked for him a lot. He liked my food better than Mama's toward the end, and then at the end, he said, that tastes like a bunch of salt. What? I thought, Negro, you like my food. So we're bantering back and forth, but I'm wrestling to hold on to something that I knew inevitably I would leave. We do that every day with our lives, trying to stay alive. And we wrestle with. My title is Live and Let Die. That's a frightening term. I saw the movie years ago. I loved it. Didn't understand the lyrics, didn't pay any attention to them. I'm going to read them to you in just a minute. They make more sense today than they've ever made to me. Live and let die, that seems abrupt. It seems callous. It seems cold. It seems selfish and incompassionate or dispassionate. Sounds like you're unsympathetic and you're insensitive and you live, but you care less about anybody else's dying. Live and let die. Both gun control and birth control are issues revolving around death. Conservatives are against both gun or birth control. Progressives are for gun and freedom to choose around birth control. But they all have to do with life and death, or life and living and dying, or dying while you live, or stopping. Don't bring some people to live who might die before they die. Some of the pro-lifers, and I'm pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice. I think a woman owns the right to determine and decide what she's going to do with her body. Just like the congressman up in Connecticut who was big, wrote all the legislation on birth control and a woman losing her freedom to choose, was encouraging his mistress to have an abortion. It was all over the news. Some of the hardest cases, when we had our own Hannah's Prayer ministry at Higher D, and we had a home for unwed mothers called St. Dominic's Home, named after my friend Carmen's father. We built that home with 5,000 square feet. The hardest cases, I had to get women to bring their babies to us rather than abort them, was from their dads. Especially if they were white dads whose white daughters got pregnant by a black kid from ORU. And I had to talk a Southern Baptist or an Assembly or a Pentecostal preacher father out of letting his daughter. I said, we'll take care of her. We'll keep it quiet. I can understand how he would not have wanted his daughter to have a kid while in college and then to go through the whole 9 months in the pregnancy, and the word gets out and he's put the money. She got to get. I mean, I can understand a normal father's, but I had to fear. But I had to talk to that man about life, all the while understanding were I in his place. Has nothing to do with race. If my college-age daughter got pregnant outside of wedlock, I would want her to do something, at least in the first trimester. Don't mean that I would pay for it or ask her or insist it, but I would think about it. And I'm very pro-life. But I also understand death. Some of the folks that are most pro-life don't care anything about you once you're living. Got these babies and they're warehousing children all over this country who came here unwanted, unwelcome, to parents that didn't want them, and so they wrestle with abandonment, and they're alcoholics and drug addicts and runaways, and they're abused verbally, psychologically, physically, and even sexually in some of these places. We're having cases in the state of Oklahoma right now about living. They are the living dead. You meet these kids, they have no life in their eyes. They're so they've deadened their senses because they can't stand the pain. The reason so many smoke pot is they're trying to manage their pain. They want to desensitize themselves, and yet they play these games all day with violence and blood and cut and all these teenage movies with walking. How they stick things in their eyes and cut their fingers off and do some crazy stuff. I think the culture is deadening itself to something that is imminent to occur at some point. What's happening here? What's the message? Life and death, like faith and doubt, are not necessarily enemies, just cooperative opponents. Opposition means having a position on the other or further side. What do we call ourselves opposite sex. Do we really oppose each other? That's why I think marriages are so tenuous, because we think in our mind that I just married the opposite sex. She opposes me, I oppose her, and that's a subliminal message that people have, that you married your opposition or maybe your adversary, and that the marriage will die or get sick or be diseased, or that the business will die, the institution, the church, the ministry, the political career. We're always afraid of something dying, including our enthusiasm. Talk to me, somebody. Sometimes we have to kick in a fast song with a beat. I almost had David get on the organ and just shout or do something. Just take it up a notch. Healing for your soul, the suke in Greek, the psyche in English. Healing for your thought life. Healing for the way you think about life or the way you think about death. Opposition is facing something of the same or similar type. You're having a face-off. Life itself is a kind of face-off. You've heard me say many times, it's a sexually transmitted dis-ease. Life is. That's incurable and terminal, because we all go through the transition we call death. But it's not untreatable. Why are you here this morning? Because you're in treatment. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to treat the disease that we all call life. Part of that disease is also called love. Love can be painful and sloppy and sluggish and raggedy. Talk to me, somebody. Nobody can hurt you, hate you, or harm you like somebody you love or who loves you. That could be your mom and them. Turn to somebody and say, how you doing? How your mom and them doing? How Pookie and Ray Ray and Bubba doing? Your children can break your heart. Your siblings can break your heart. Your parents can profoundly disappoint you. So can your partners and mates and your bosses and employees and employers. Your higher-uppers, the hierarchy, the leaders, the police officers can, the judges can, the congressmen can, a president can. Oh, God, a president can. Now, the scientific definition of death is the cessation of all biological functions that sustain a living organism. Anything from people and politics to marriages, ministries, business, anything could die. Everything does at some point. We're actually in a dying process on our way and trying to live. I'm actually living and dying at the same time. Every 29 days, you get a new cover of skin. 90% of the dust in anybody's home is human skin. Ash. Look at them heels. Look at your heels right now. If you got up late and rushing and put no lotion on them heels, we actually use lotion to cover up the dying process. My mother's father was very, very dark, and he wasn't into putting no lotion on his hand. His hand would be so rusty. He looked like he was wearing white gloves. He was the usher at the church. If you don't put something on the elbows and the heels, but what we do is we put lotion, which basically clogs the pores and hides the death process. We really need exfoliants. Talk to me, somebody. To open up those pores and to scrape that dead skin off. We need that spiritually. We need that psychologically. We need that emotionally. We need that religiously. Religion can be a lot of lotion covering up the dying process. But if you want to breathe, I'm getting ready for a new detox in January. You know, I do it every year, as most of us do. We stop eating meat and toxic things, and we get on the plant-based diet, and I want to get more and more into that, start working out more. I mean, I'm already, so I have to work out a little bit. Pearson jeans, and don't nobody work out my house. But well, I actually get up and run around the block about 6 or 8 times every morning. Then I push it back under the bed and go take a shower. Y'all do that too. Some of y'all don't do that. You go to Whole Foods and Atkins and is that all these health? And you see everybody in there is crippling. You know, they didn't got sick. I thought y'all came too late. It's like most of the folks that I see drinking Diet Coke. All right. That's why I ain't drinking Diet Coke, because everybody I drink Diet Coke is fat. I ain't drinking it. All living things grow, all growing things change, and change is always a struggle. It's part of living. None of us have personally experienced death, but we're all presently experiencing dying, simply because we're experiencing living. The two are basically inseparable. The older I get, and I've had some cancer spells. I mean, 15 years, I'm cancer-free, but about 2002 or 3, I learned that I had cancer. I battled it, had special treatment and all that kind of stuff. It came at a time that this inclusion thing was tearing up my life in ministry, and people were telling me that I was going to lead people to hell, millions to hell, and that God should kill me, and I wasn't sure. It was too new to me. I was trying to sort through, and I said, and then I got cancer at the same time, and I said, well, if I am that bad and I am leading millions to hell, I'm sure God will kill me with this, but I'm going to get a little treatment anyway. I changed my diet, stopped eating red meats, cut off the sugar, had the kinds of treatment that addressed the kind of cancer I had, and I survived, but I didn't tell anybody except my dad. I didn't even tell my mom or wife right away. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to get out and for all you church folk to say, yeah, God's going to kill him, and then all that deadly negative emotion would have gone toward me. A lot of those Christians actually wanted me to die because when you break the rules, and I did to some people, they really were ready. And I said I had some very low, despondent, depressing times, but you would never have known about it because I would never tell it. but it was humiliating in so many ways. I won't even get into all that stuff. But I learned that lesson, and that's what I told the cancer. I had a conversation with the thing that could have killed me, and I said, let's negotiate this. Why are you here? What have you come for? I know it ain't to kill me. You probably came to teach me. So I'm going to learn. I got notes. I'm ready. I read the syllabus in my mind, what the course is about. Let's get this done. As soon as I learn my lesson, get the hell, you're through. Go on down the road. That's actually what I said. You got to get out of here because you're not going to kill me, because even though I had doubts about my message and doubts about the direction I was heading and doubts about the death of my ministry that I'd spent 50 years of my life building, and it's gone in a matter, it seemed to me it was like hours. The whole situation in this movie that they've done around this situation in my life called Come Sunday, it features Oral Roberts played by Martin Sheen. And it hit me yesterday when I was explaining it to somebody. He's basically trying to keep his other son, his oldest son committed suicide, Ron, who was a member of our church here for a while. His oldest son committed suicide, physical suicide. His youngest son, spiritual son, was about to commit ministerial suicide. It wasn't that he fought my message, he fought the results. What he said was going to happen to me happened. I lost everything. The church, the ministry, the prestige, my friends, my partners, my income. My realtor right here just got me a house with an option to buy, because I haven't owned anything. I bet I've spent hundreds of thousands in rent. I used to tell my people, if you don't own your home, you're homeless. When I was living in Chicago, I had the kind of housing allowance that I could afford nice places, but I had to supplement it. I spent a lot of money, and I decided I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to invest again. That man died. Here's the resurrected one. I'm starting all over at 64 years old. I'm going to be getting Medicaid here in a few. I turned 65 and because of my experience, I've had to pay as much as $3,000 for insurance, health insurance. That's crazy. That's robbery. I was trying to go to the doctor in the hospital and spend some of the money. I think I made myself get sick just because I had to pay all that money. Somebody going to use it. But the death thing was there. It was always dancing around me. And now I'm slowly retaining life, regaining life, thinking of things differently. I want to read the lyrics and then I stop, because I get 3 Sundays to talk to you about this. Of course, Newton's law of third law is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Life and death, dark and light, whatever. The death of humans. And we're all human beings struggling to stay alive, and not only to stay alive, but to be alive. Let me just read these lyrics and to the song. Anybody know the lyrics to Live and Let Die? You actually know them? I remember Goldfinger. That's the first movie I saw. And I'd snuck into the theater. It cost 25 cents in the 60s. And that was against our religion, so I was scared the second coming was going to occur. And I saw Goldfinger, and then later To Russia with Love and 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I mean, I was so fascinated with that big screen, and it was color and all that stuff. And I knew that Jesus was coming back, and I was going to go to hell for going to a theater. Isn't that something? Where's the lyrics? You have to close. Okay, here's the lyrics. It was written by Paul McCartney. He had read the book. Somebody asked him to read the book and put a music to the movie. When you were young and your heart was an open book, you used to say, live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give in and cry, say, live and let die. Let me read it again. Those are the only 2 verses. When you were young and your heart was an open book, or you were innocent and basically ignorant, just starting out in life. Life was so precious to you. You were saying always, live and let live. Live and let live. Be alive, thrive, dream, fantasize, envision, image, make a map, plan. You know you did. You know you did. But if this ever-changing world in which we live in, he should have just said in which we live, but the lyric is in which we live in, makes you cry, makes you give in and cry. You have to give in to cry because you got to be tough. Now, if you knew Paul McCartney's background and the Beatles and where they came from and studied, you know what it was to fight tears. When you've come up in poverty and lack and nobody believed in you and they said you'd never make it, you don't have a voice, you don't have a talent, and you're stupid to even try. And then they became household words all over the world. I stopped liking them because I heard that they said we become more popular than Jesus. And of course, we fundamentalists went nuts over that. And then Michael Jackson became more, I mean, everybody started doing stuff. We were fighting him, but he went through so much for him to be what he became. He was older now. They were asking him to write scores for movies or songs for music. It was Paul McCartney. So it says, I'm a little older now. If this ever-changing world in which we live makes you give in and cry, say, live and let die. In other words, he's saying, let it go. You can't fix everything. You can't change everything. You can't run everything. You can't rule everything. Some things die. You lose some, you win some, you lose some. Chill. You're too controlling. You're too narcissistic. You take yourself too seriously. Chill. You ain't all that in a bag of chips. And neither is life. My dad said to me one time very wise words when I started my church in a storefront in Jinx, hired 40 years ago. Son, he said, wear all of this like a loose garment. He could see my drive. I was a micromanager. I was very meticulous. In the early days, when we started the ministry, I controlled the sound system. I ran the rehearsals for the singers. I chose my musicians. I chose what they wore, girls and me, guys. I approved everything. I wanted it perfect. My office, I had an office in 1977. I went to my office, and I had a desk and phone, nobody to call, nothing to write, nobody to write. Hired a secretary, nothing for her to do. I wore a three-piece suit, wasn't nobody coming to see me. I was a black man. I said, well, I better look the part. I got it in a secular building, the 1200 building, whatever it is. They torn it down on Lewis. I was real meticulous. By the time we got to Azusa, I did nothing. I got a lot of credit. I started living in that night. I chose a speaker or a singer. I just showed up at the conference. My folk put that thing on. I showed up in Tulsa on weekends. I was like a guest speaker. Thing was oiled, greased well. I mean, the operation was perfect. Ushers and greeters and children's ministry and youth ministry and parking attendants and all the programs they put on. All I did was show up. I started living and allowing certain things to die. That's why when I lost so much, I was already in a position to let go. I had trusted another reality. I had to trust another level of being, and you must do the same thing. A lot of things are dying in this country and in this culture. Now, there are certain things you need to stand for and certain things you need to let go. You need to have a bucket list, and you need to have a bucket list. Y'all got that, didn't you? So, I have a bunch of things I want to do. There's a bunch of things I'm never going to do. I don't even think about doing it anymore. I'm shaking it off. Do like this, everybody. Come on. Say, live and let die. No, I didn't say live and kill. Don't kill. Don't murder yourself. Murder things or yourself. But relax. Come on, take a deep breath, everybody. Just relax. Oh, say things are never as bad as they seem. And they could always be worse. Psychologists say 80% of the things that people worry about never happen. One out of every 5 people in America that you meet are mentally ill. That's what the psychologists are telling us. Nobody would have thought Mr. Paddock was that. He was a millionaire. He would spend 8, 9, 12 hours a day gambling. A successful businessman. he seemed to have calm relationships. His brother said no, he wasn't a racist. He wasn't into religion. He wasn't into social and civil rights. We don't have a clue on what he did. But he was crazy to a certain extent with something. 1 out of every 5 people you meet. Count down the row right now, right quick. That 5th one is crazy. If they count back this way, you the 5th one that's going to be crazy. Get your hands up like this and say, let it go. All of us have bills. All of us have deals. All of us have children, parents. If you have parents at my age, they're in their 80s. They're going through the disobedient parent stage. Deal with it. Relax. Mama tells me the same thing over and over again, or repeats herself, or I have to tell her the same thing. I'm not as tense. Mom, I just told you that. Mom, I just said it, sweetheart. No, just say it again. But I do say, Mom, no, this is the beginning stage, a little something here. Just want you to know, because sometimes I don't want to get in an argument with me because you forget what you tell me. Just talk her through it, right? My kids are doing that to me already. Makes me so angry, but they do it. They act like I don't know anything. Stand up. We're going to go home in a second. Sorry, I went over a little bit, but let's live it. Just live and let die. I got lunch after this, too. Wrap your arms around yourself. Everything must change, and it will.
Let it be.
Yeah, relax.
Let it be.
Come on, sing it.
Let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.
Love it. Sing it one more time.
Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, whisper words of wisdom.
Wisdom.
Let it be.
One more time, and this time I want you to say, let it go. Just let some things go today. Come
Let
on.
it go.
Release it. Even a loved one
Let it go.
who's made the transition.
Let it go.
Might be a job, might be a relationship.
Let it go. This will be
your answer. Let it go.
Let it go.
Wave it goodbye. Come on. One more time. Let it go.
Let it go.
Oh.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. This will be
the answer.
Let it go.
Hug yourself. It's time. Now let us go. It's time to go. I know. We're going to. I love you. I believe in you. Thank you. Let's continue to build. We have 4 years, a little less than that, as Barbara said, to build and be. We're not just building a new church. We're becoming a new church. We're rethinking things. We're remodeling. We're embracing the new spiritual paradigm as spiritual progressives and cultural creatives, sacred humanists. Get to know yourself all over again for the first time. Just like your skin changes every 29 days. I'll read you some other statistics about how you're constantly evolving. We're creative, and we're creating. You're doing that. We assigned you now to go out into the world and create the reality you want, beginning with the way you think about who you are and how you fit in this planet. We're going to do this thing, and it's going to be awesome. Are you ready? All right. Anything else? Any more announcements? Let us go. Let us go. Let us go. We gonna go. This will be the answer.
This will be
Let us go.
the answer.
Love that.
Let it go.
Hey, we're so happy you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.